welcome back to the channel. On this video, I'm going to talk about my top 10 Switch games, and I'm just going to stick to the ones that I've got physically. Okay, so as I said at the top of the video, I'm just going to stick to the games I've got physically. There's a couple of download-only games that I would say would make the cut, but we're not gonna touch on them other than to mention them now. And that is Golf Story and Worms. Get them out of the way. Right, so let's get down to the top 10. I've got a massive Switch collection, to be honest. I think it's just that point in my life where buying games wasn't really an object. You know, I had the money, and so I just went ham with it, really. But I've enjoyed the Switch, and these are my top 10 games, and I've actually chiseled these down from more like a top 20. So there's a lot of games I've enjoyed. Obviously, the numbering of the list is what it is. It's like on a different day, it could be a different order. But anyway, in at 10, I've got a first-person shooter that I did a review on, and it's called Parodius. The lighting is terrible. This is a first-person shooter. It's an old-school style shooter, so it's, you know, pixelated. It's brilliant. I'm trying to think what game it reminds me of most. I don't know, really. I mean, it's obviously a blend between, you know, Doom, Quake, and Duke Nukem, but it is unique in its own way. I'd say art style, I'd actually say, is quite unique because it's a 3D art style, but it's heavily pixelated, and it's quite unique in that sense. There's a lot of blood in the game. There's a lot of action. It's a brilliant game. That's the only thing I can say about that one. In at 9, people who know me will know I love this game. Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 remake. It had to go in. It's one of the games that I've probably played most. What did I think of the remakes? I thought they were awesome. 3 and 4, I didn't put in my top 10 because that game, I would say, struggled on the Switch. It's more of a Switch 2 game. It's quite laggy. This game was fine. But, you know, what can I say about Tony Hawk's that hasn't already been said? It's an awesome game. It's a great game to pick up and play. It's great for 2-player. I love the campaign. It's the kind of game that if I'm going to play it, if I'm going to buy a new Tony Hawk's game, I really look forward to the campaign. I look forward to getting the skate. I look forward to doing the combo. I look forward to doing the high scores. I just love the game. In at 8, I'm still struggling with counting backwards, but in at 8, this is actually my game of last year. This is Old School Rally. It's a fantastic game. So if you like PS1 racers or rally racers like Colin McRae, you know what you're going to get with this. It's very similar, but it's been brought up to modern standards, as it were, in terms of, obviously it's on a HD system, but the graphics are still true to that sort of 90s style, and the gameplay is, you know, it's not a sim, you know, it's a rally arcade game. It's just fantastic. It's just really, really good. I mean, the reason why I enjoy these kinds of games, I think, is because you don't have to think. You know, a lot of games, say for example, I'm trying to play Metal Gear 3 at the minute, and it's quite taxing because I really need to focus and get involved in the game, which obviously in the long term is more rewarding. But when you just want to switch off and game, these kinds of games are perfect because it requires nothing of you other than just to follow and press the buttons. But yeah, I'd recommend that game a lot. In at 7, again, I had to mention this game. It's FIFA. It's FIFA 23. So this is the only FIFA I've got on the Switch. But I have to mention it because of the amount that I've played it, especially multiplayer as well. Had so much fun with FIFA. I mean, this is a funny port of FIFA because it's, my friends who have played me on this know that you can abuse the mechanics of the game. Basically, you can hit the ball from way far out, and sometimes you can score, and it's quite funny because the ball will just loop in, it'll just go over the keeper. So it's almost a bit arcadey in that way. It's not realistic, but I've just had a lot of fun with this game. Obviously, over the years, I've been a big FIFA player, a big Pro Evo player. I love my football, so FIFA has to go in. So what have we got here? We got number 6. Again, has to go in. It's the Insane Trilogy. I was a big Crash fan as a kid. So when I had a PS1, I specifically remember Christmas. The one Christmas I got Crash Bandicoot 3, which is my favorite of the trilogy. And the remasters, similar with Tony Hawk's, really, just fantastic, really. I mean, the same as the originals, sort of slight. Well, Tony Hawk's a bit different because those games did really need the remaster, whereas this game is like there's slight improvements to gameplay, but there's big improvements to graphics, and it just brings it into the modern day. Really, they're fantastic remasters. I love the Crash games. I really love the Crash games. I love the world, the music, the bosses, just the whole aesthetic of the game. It's just awesome. In at 5, Luigi's Mansion 3. This is an interesting one because I never played 1 or 2, and I remember when I first got my Switch, my friend Bestie, he recommended it. He was like, you need to play Mansion 3. So I sort of took his recommendation, and it was great. It's been a while since I've played the game, but it's essentially it's a little bit like Resident Evil, but obviously it's child friendly. And the reason why I enjoy games like this is because, well, one, it's nice to play a game that you've never played before. So for example, with Crash and Tony Hawk's and FIFA, I've played those games over and over and over again. Whereas this was my first experience with Luigi's Mansion 3. Graphically, it's one of the best looking games on the system, I would say. But, it's really the atmosphere of the game, the story, the vibe. It's a really good game. That's all I can really say. I mean, I think if they do Luigi's Mansion 4, that would be a good release for the Switch 2, and I think that would make some people want to buy that system. In at 4 is Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered. So this is probably one of the only games on the Switch that I've actually fully maxed out. I've done everything on the game that you can possibly do. So it had to go in. I've obviously spent a lot of time in this game. It's a great game. I mean, graphically, it's fantastic. Gameplay-wise, it's awesome. Music's awesome. I love Need for Speed Hot Pursuit specifically because I had Hot Pursuit on the PS1. So I thought I'd give the remaster a try. And it's just a great game. It's cheap as well. At one stage, this was only about 15 quid. But it's one of the best races on the Switch for sure. I just had a lot of fun playing through it and a lot of fun getting all the sort of gold medals, if you like. Now my top 3. So the first in my top 3 is Unmetal, actually. So this is a gift from a friend, Bestie. He bought me this as a thank you for some work that I'd done. Yeah, it's a funny game actually, because I remember when I saw this originally, I wasn't that interested in it because it's a comic game, comical, and comedy and games is not something that I really bother with, if you know what I mean. That doesn't really appeal. But Bestie bought me this because I'm a big Metal Gear fan, and this is a Metal Gear spoof. But then as soon as I started playing it, I knew it was great and I knew I was going to love it. Because it is really funny and it genuinely made me laugh a lot, but it's also super unique. It's similar to the original Metal Gear games that were on the NES. And it's also unique in the sense that you sort of build it as you go a little bit. So you'll come to moments in the game and because the story of the game is told through voiceover, there'll sort of be a voiceover and then you'll put the end on it. So it'll be like, oh, and then I turned this corner and saw. So it's almost like you can choose what happens in the game a little bit. And that was kind of unique and not something I'd really seen much before, which made this game quality. But I love the style, I love the retro style, the comedy is second to none, the voice acting, the script is just fantastic. And then the gameplay obviously is awesome. So I'd super recommend this game. I don't feel like it gets talked about a great deal. I've recommended it to a few people, but yeah, check it out if you can. I just noticed I've got a little manual in here. It's quite neat. Occasionally you do get these little manuals inside the Switch cases, which is quite nice. Now the last game, well, okay, so the last two games are like the same. They're actually quite similar, so I might as well show them together. So number 2 is Tears of the Kingdom, and number 1 is Breath of the Wild. These had to be 1 and 2 really, because they're leagues above, you know. In terms of the depth of these games, they are kind of leagues above. Obviously, Breath of the Wild is my favorite. It's the first one I played. I've spoken about it a lot. You know, for me, it was the first game that I played like that, where it was open world, and it was a game with a lot of substance. A game that you could dive into, you could explore, and you would discover as you went, and it was just fantastic. You know, I remember like vividly like wanting to play the game because I just wanted to carry on that journey sort of thing, and you don't get that on many games, because you know not many games get to that height of that level of immersion. Obviously Tears of the Kingdom, as I've said before, it was a fantastic game, but it wasn't the first experience. You know, we'd seen the world before. They introduced some cool stuff, but both good games. Anyone who's played them, you know, I'd like to think that they would enjoy them as much as me, because I enjoyed them no end. And it is the kind of game that, funnily enough, I would say even if you don't game, you should treat yourself to play those games, because you can't not enjoy them. It's not possible. Just fantastic games. But that's my top 10. I will just give you the games that didn't make the top 10, but did make the shortlist. Let me just check how many I've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, yeah, it's actually another 10. I'm just going to quickly go through these. So these are the ones that nearly made it. Shredder's Revenge, Link's Awakening, Overcooked, Iron Fury, Bolt Gun, Bendy and the Ink Machine, Doom Slayer's Collection. Essentially, that's the new Doom. Doom 2016. Street Race 4, Mario Odyssey, and Halloween Double Pack. So yeah, that would be my top 20, I suppose. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. And if anyone's got any thoughts, I'd love to hear them. But yeah, I guess if anyone's got any recommendations for me, feel free to fire them over. But until then, we'll see you again.